Something has just unfolded in the cold, silent dark of space, and it breaks every rule we thought we understood. The object known as 3I Atlas, the interstellar traveler we have been tracking for months, has done something no natural object should ever be able to do. It has slowed down. And this isn't a tiny correction or a barely noticeable wobble in its path. This is a deliberate, powerful braking maneuver on a scale that simply should not be possible. For the past 11 days, our most advanced tracking systems have reported the same astonishing result. 3I Atlas has been losing speed at a rate no comet or asteroid could ever produce. It has shed more than 2.8 kilometers per second of its excess velocity. That number alone has sent shockwaves through observatories and research teams worldwide. To understand how extraordinary this is, consider what it means for an object to arrive from interstellar space. It carries immense built-in momentum, moving like a cosmic bullet. Its speed is so great that even the sun's gravity barely diverts it. Normally, nothing can slow it down except the gravity of massive planets it happens to pass. That is the unbreakable rule of physics. But 3I Atlas is breaking that rule. It is not reacting to gravity. It is resisting it. It is countering its own momentum in real time. A natural, lifeless object cannot do this. A comet does not decide to reduce its speed. An asteroid cannot carefully trim away its velocity day after day for nearly 2 weeks. What we are watching is controlled, sustained, powered deceleration. This suggests guidance. It suggests energy. It suggests a system or intelligence making a choice to remain inside our solar system instead of passing through and vanishing back into the vast dark between the stars. This is why scientists have moved from curiosity to concern. This is why trajectory analysts are whispering in private channels. And this is why people inside major space agencies from NASA to the ESA have begun to panic quietly. Whatever 3I Atlas is, whatever technology or intention drives it, it is showing a level of precise maneuvering far beyond anything humanity has ever built. And now the most unsettling question of all hangs over us. Why is it slowing down? Why is it choosing to stay? We don't have the answers yet, but the implications are enormous. And this impossible braking maneuver is only the start of the mystery ahead. To understand why this sudden deceleration is so shocking, we need to look at what 3I Atlas was supposed to be doing from the start. When it entered the inner solar system, it followed what astronomers call a hyperbolic path. In simple terms, this is the trajectory of a runaway. It meant the object carried more than enough speed and energy to escape the sun's gravity forever. According to physics, its journey was already predetermined. Swing past the sun once, then head back into the endless dark between the stars. A brief visit, nothing more. But that plan has collapsed. What we are watching now is something entirely different. For weeks, the excess velocity that guaranteed its escape has been fading away. What once kept it safely above the sun's pull has been steadily cut down, day after day. It is as though the object is applying a constant, invisible, and incredibly powerful brake. At first, many senior scientists argued this had to be a mistake. Maybe it was faulty data. Maybe a telescope caught a bad reading. But that hope died quickly. Observatories separated by continents began confirming the same numbers. Chile matched Hawaii. Ground systems matched the Hubble Space Telescope. The deceleration is real, it is steady, and it is undeniable. If this continues, and nothing suggests it will stop, 3I Atlas will fail to escape. Instead of slipping back into deep space, it will become bound to the sun, just like any other long-term resident of our system. It will stay. But this is where the situation becomes far more disturbing. The braking isn't random. It isn't the kind of chaotic slowdown caused by debris breaking off a natural object. It is precise. The combination of its direction and the smooth, predictable pattern of its slowing suggests a clear purpose. It is shaping its own orbit. And the orbit it is shaping is not some distant, harmless loop near Jupiter or Saturn. The simulations run on our most powerful supercomputers all point to one conclusion. It is targeting an orbit that repeatedly crosses the same region of space Earth occupies, a path that brings it back to our neighborhood again and again, like a predictable beat in a cosmic rhythm. This is not a wild theory. This comes from the world's top orbital modelers, the same experts who guide spacecraft across millions of miles with pinpoint accuracy. They have run thousands of simulations, and every model that includes the current controlled braking ends with the same outcome, a stable orbit that keeps bringing 3I Atlas near Earth. And that leads to the question no one wants to speak aloud. Is 3I Atlas intentionally positioning itself near our planet? Because if that is the case, then this object isn't just choosing to stay in our solar system, it is choosing to stay close to us. Now we have to confront what it actually takes for an object to do what 3I Atlas is doing. Slowing down in deep space isn't simple. It's not a gentle tap of the brakes. To lose the kind of extraordinary speed this object is shedding, those 2.8 kilometers per second and counting, you need power. Immense, overwhelming, almost unimaginable power. We are talking about more energy than humanity spent sending every Apollo astronaut to the moon. More continuous thrust than any chemical engine humans have ever built could sustain. This is why the scientific community is quietly unraveling. Public statements remain calm, but inside research labs and space agencies, the tone is closer to panic. To shift from a hyperbolic escape path to a stable orbit requires bleeding off enormous amounts of velocity. It demands a change in speed so extreme that even our most advanced spacecraft could never accomplish it without fuel tanks far larger than the spacecraft itself. Our probes, Voyager, New Horizons, all of them are locked to their trajectories. They cannot stop. They do not have the fuel. But 3I Atlas can. It is performing this impossible maneuver with flawless precision, hour after hour, without any visible sign of propulsion. And that is the detail tearing at the minds of physicists everywhere. There is no exhaust, no plume. Even with the James Webb Space Telescope staring directly at it, there is no sign of gas, vapor, or ions being expelled. Nothing glows in the infrared. If it were using a fusion or advanced fission engine, we would see heat radiating from it. We would see a thermal signature so bright it would dominate the sky in its region. Instead, it stays cold, silent, almost ghost-like. Whatever is driving this deceleration is something we have never observed before. It is not listed in our textbooks. It could be some kind of field propulsion, a manipulation of gravity, or a technology so advanced it feels like magic. And that leads to an unavoidable conclusion, one that scientists have been hesitant to voice openly. 3I Atlas is not acting like a natural object. It is acting like a craft, a vehicle under guidance, something making decisions. At this point, that idea is no longer a fringe theory. It is the only explanation that matches the observations. We are watching a machine operate in real time, but the most unsettling part of this entire event isn't the technology itself, unprecedented as it is. It's the timing. The 3I Atlas began this massive braking maneuver immediately after its closest approach to Earth. Think about that. It passed through our inner solar system on a trajectory that should have flung it back into interstellar space forever. In that brief window, it gathered data. It observed our planet. It drifted past our satellites. It listened to the flood of our radio, television, military, and digital noise. And then, right after it passed us, it began to slow down. It is as if something it learned during that moment changed its mission. What did it detect? Did it see the glow of our cities on the night side of Earth? Did it analyze the chemicals in our atmosphere, unmistakable signs of an industrial civilization? Did it absorb our radio chatter, our conflicts, our entertainment, our signals scattered across space? Did it sense the instability, the division, the fragile nature of our species? Something during that flyby convinced it, or whatever intelligence guides it, to abandon its long journey home and stay within reach of Earth. It chose to expend an extraordinary amount of energy to remain here. And whatever the reason, we are not prepared for what that means. Humanity has never faced a moment like this. This is no longer a harmless interstellar visitor drifting by. This is something making a deliberate, calculated decision. A decision with consequences we have never imagined. The game has changed, and we didn't even know we were part of it. The moment scientists accepted that 3I Atlas was slowing down on purpose, the entire global conversation shifted. What began as an astronomical curiosity suddenly moved into secured, windowless rooms where nations discussed strategy and national security. Because once you admit this object is maneuvering intentionally, you must accept the deeper, more frightening truth: we have no control over it. None. We cannot influence its decisions, redirect its path, or stop whatever it intends to do. We are simply watching, like insects on a railroad track, aware of the approaching train but powerless to change its direction. Inside major space agencies, the tone is no longer a quiet concern. It has escalated into genuine fear. Not because 3I Atlas has shown aggression, it has not fired a weapon or made any threatening move, but because it has revealed a capability so far beyond anything humanity can build that our entire idea of power collapses instantly. The gap is not small, it is astronomical. Think about what happens if 3I Atlas completes its shift into a stable orbit around the Sun. It becomes a permanent part of our solar system, a new artificial world, a presence we never invited, cannot influence, and cannot remove. Something that moves with precision and power that makes our fastest missiles and strongest weapons meaningless. They might as well be toys compared to an object that can change its velocity by kilometers per second without visible effort. And the orbit it seems to be shaping is not a distant, harmless loop near Neptune. The projections show it repeatedly crossing the same region of space Earth travels through. That means predictable encounters, regular returns, a repeating cycle of close approaches. Imagine an object driven by a technology we cannot identify, passing near Earth again and again, each time on a schedule determined by something other than nature. It would become a new moon in our sky. A constant reminder that we are no longer the most advanced intelligence in our own neighborhood. That reality has every major government on alert. Diplomats and analysts are trading data, sometimes openly, sometimes reluctantly, trying to determine not just what the object wants, but what rival nations might gain from it. Ambition and fear are now entangled, shaping a new kind of global tension, a Cold War built not on weapons, but on uncertainty. Some leaders see opportunity. They imagine contact, the sharing of knowledge, unimaginable technological leaps. Others see only danger. They worry about surveillance, interference with satellites, compromised communications, even threats we lack the imagination to predict. But beneath all the geopolitics sits a deeper scientific discomfort. The engineers who build rockets, the physicists who study propulsion, the researchers who map orbits, they are the ones forced to confront what this object truly represents. The 3I Atlas is using a form of thrust that defies every known category. It is not chemical, it is not ion-based, it is not solar. If it is throwing off mass, we cannot detect it. If it is generating heat, it does so with perfect efficiency, leaving no thermal trace. It is rewriting the limits of physics simply by existing. And perhaps the most unsettling part of all is the silence. Complete, deliberate silence. After its flyby, it did not attempt to communicate. It sent no message, no greeting, no acknowledgement. It has not responded to the powerful radar beams we've directed at it. It simply moves, observe, decide, and right now, it has decided to stay. What does that mean for Earth? What does that mean for humanity's future? Those answers remain hidden inside an object drifting through our space with calm, cold precision. But one thing is now undeniable. 3I Atlas is no longer a visitor passing through our solar system. It is entering it, joining it, becoming part of it, and possibly it is positioning itself near us for reasons we do not yet understand. As 3I Atlas continues its silent, controlled maneuvers, one question now dominates every discussion, from observatories to military strategy rooms. Why? Why would a craft capable of crossing interstellar space choose to remain near Earth? The theories circulating in secure meetings range from hopeful to deeply unsettling, and none can be dismissed. The most optimistic interpretation, the one scientists quietly hope for, is simple: study. If a civilization advanced enough to build such a craft discovered a planet like ours, a rare blue world glowing with artificial lights wrapped in radio noise, ringed by satellites, why wouldn't they want a closer look? A fast flyby offers only a snapshot. Earth is, from a scientific standpoint, the most intriguing object in this region of space. We are a young, loud, rapidly evolving technological species. A long-term orbit would allow continuous observation of our behavior, our communication, our development, and our conflicts. It would be the ultimate research opportunity. That is the hopeful scenario. But other possibilities are emerging. If 3I Atlas is part of something larger, its mission may not be simple observation. It could be a scout, a vanguard sent ahead of something still drifting through the interstellar dark. By remaining near Earth, it might be acting as a relay, a monitoring post, or a beacon for future activity. It could be transmitting data back to its origin, using the sun's gravity and energy as an amplifier. And if humans discovered a young species around another star, this is exactly what we would do. We wouldn't just fly by. We would stay. We would park a probe in orbit. We would listen. We would prepare. Then there is the more cautious, strategic interpretation, assessment. Perhaps what the object observed during its close pass, our nuclear weapons, our political instability, our environmental crisis, our rapid, uncontrolled technological rise, triggered a different protocol. From the viewpoint of a civilization millions of years ahead of us, humanity may look volatile. We may resemble an experiment on the edge of collapse. They might not see us as a threat to them, but as a species that could soon become a threat to ourselves or to others. Staying close would allow them to monitor what happens next. And finally, there is the darkest scenario. The one military leaders cannot ignore: what if staying is preparation? Not for an invasion. An advanced species wouldn't need subtlety to destroy us, but for involvement, intervention, influence. Any direct involvement, even a peaceful one, by a species far beyond us would reshape our world in ways we cannot control. It would destabilize our religions, our governments, our economies, and our identity as a species. The arrival of something with godlike abilities is terrifying, even if its intentions are benevolent. Inside NASA, the military, and intelligence agencies worldwide, the debate is fierce. Some argue we must communicate immediately. They want to broadcast prime number sequences and mathematical patterns to show we are intelligent and peaceful. They believe the 3I Atlas is here out of curiosity, not threat. Others demand silence. They argue that any signal we send could be misinterpreted. Any outreach might be seen as fear, aggression, or desperation. They warn that we are like an uncontacted tribe spotting an aircraft for the first time. Any reaction may be the wrong one. And beneath all these urgent debates lies the one truth no leader wants to say aloud: whatever 3I Atlas intends to do, we cannot stop it. We cannot redirect it. We cannot force it to leave. We cannot hide from it. Whether it stays or moves, it will be on its terms, not ours. This new reality is reshaping global strategy, science, and philosophy all at once. Humanity is slowly realizing something unprecedented. For the first time in our history, we are not the watchers of the universe. We are the ones being watched. Just as the world's defense agencies were bracing for 3I Atlas to finish its slowdown and lock itself into a new orbit near Earth, something even stranger happened. Astronomers who expected the object to keep losing speed or even break apart under the strain saw the opposite. The deceleration stopped, completely, instantly, as if an impossibly powerful force had just switched off. Natural forces do not behave like that. They do not come with an on-off switch. Ice does not stop sublimating all at once. Gravitational stresses do not freeze in place. Fragmentation from internal stress does not halt mid-process. Those are chaotic, uncontrolled events. But 3I Atlas behaved as if it simply ended a controlled maneuver. One moment, it was shedding velocity at a staggering rate. The next, it was drifting smoothly again, silent and stable, as though it had reached the exact speed it was targeting. The burn was complete. The last time humanity saw anything remotely similar was the strange non-gravitational acceleration of the visitor known as Oumuamua. But even that was weak and debatable compared to this. What 3I Atlas just executed was a coordinated 2-week-long high-energy burn followed by a perfect instantaneous shutdown. A sequence so orderly that it mimics intelligent control, not randomness. And just as scientists were processing this mission-complete moment, something even more extraordinary appeared in the data. As the object settled into its new orbit, telescopes caught a subtle but unmistakable pattern in the way it reflected sunlight. It wasn't the smooth shine of a uniform icy body. It wasn't the chaotic scatter of fractured debris. It was a repeating pulse, steady, rhythmic flashes of light. This was not random. For reflected sunlight to produce a consistent repeating pattern while the object moves through space, its surface must contain flat, planar structures, surfaces capable of catching and reflecting light in a controlled sequence. Nature can create spirals, fractures, and chaos, but it does not build precise, aligned flat planes designed to flash sunlight like a signal. That kind of geometry is not natural. It is engineered. And if those reflective surfaces were engineered, they were built long before 3I Atlas ever crossed into our solar system. The moment that rhythmic reflection began appearing in the data, observatories worldwide rushed to explain it. Glinting asteroids? No match. Fragmented comets? Impossible. Random solar reflections? The timing was far too exact. Then came the moment that left entire research teams silent. The pulse was changing. Not wildly, but subtly, deliberately. Each flash grew slightly longer. The timing shifted by fractions of a second. When high-precision clocks compared the data, the truth became clear. 3I Atlas was adjusting its rotation. Space rocks do not fine-tune their spin. Dead objects cannot stabilize after a maneuver. Yet that is exactly how 3I Atlas behaved. Like a ship damping its momentum after a long engine burn. Like a vehicle shifting from propulsion mode to observation mode. At first, the change was buried in noise. But once data from multiple observatories was aligned, the pattern was impossible to ignore. The object's reflective signature wasn't just changing, it was reacting. Not to sunlight, not to random forces, but to its new orbit. It was adapting, preparing. And as analysts dug deeper into the spectral readings, one truth grew harder and harder to deny. The next few weeks will shape a new chapter in human history. If 3I Atlas remains, and all signs indicate it will, then humanity is no longer alone in its solar system. We will learn to live alongside something we cannot predict and cannot command. We will study it, watch it, and hope for understanding. Because an intelligence far beyond our own has arrived in our neighborhood. It is silent, it is powerful, and it is making choices, choices that now involve us. This is no longer the story of a passing visitor. This is the story of a new neighbor. Do you believe 3I Atlas is a curious observer, a warning, a scout, a future ally, or something else entirely? Tell me in the comments how you interpret this scenario. What possibilities excite you? What possibilities scare you? And if you could send one message to this new neighbor, what would you say? Thanks for spending your time with us today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you'll be the first to catch our next adventure. Your support truly means the world. Wishing you a wonderful day ahead.